Guys, I don't know what's going on with chapter 137 of Chainsaw Man. I usually have a pretty hyped up intro for these chapter reviews where I kick it off about something crazy happening in the chapter or something, but honestly, I've just been left scratching my head these past few chapters, and it's a big reason why I didn't review the last one, because I wanted to see what happened this week for me to really give any actual thoughts on what's going on. And with chapter 137, it's just, I don't know where the story's going. I don't know where anything's going. And honestly, I've been getting pretty annoyed with Denji lately. And look, I still love Chainsaw Man. I'm still going to read it every week. I'm still going to try to review it every week, but I'm not going to blindly love everything that's going on each and every chapter. I'm going to have my opinions here and there that might rub some of you guys the wrong way. And while these past two chapters have definitely had some very good moments for Denji, and honestly the way 137 ends definitely leaves me very interested as to where things are going, I still have my complaints, but instead of just whining this entire video, I'm just going to get right into the chapter. So let's get going. So like I said, I didn't review chapter 136 because I wanted to see where things were going, but just to give a very quick recap of what happened in chapter 136, because it does lead directly into what happens in this chapter. Denji goes to school like this depressed zombie because now he's pretty much forced to live a normal life, even though he wants to be Chainsaw Man and be famous and get all this attention from women, things like that. Pretty much what he committed to doing at the end of part 1. He wanted more to life than just the normal stuff. Well, he's still wearing a Chainsaw Man shirt under his school uniform, and one of the students notices this, and he points out that he has a problem with him wearing the shirt because lately it's been rumored that a lot of Chainsaw Man's accomplishments aren't real, and it was actually Asa Mitaka that in fact got rid of a lot of the devils that Chainsaw Man was getting credit for, like his fight with the Cockroach Devil, the fight with the Eternity Devil, and also with the Falling Devil. And this is because if you guys remember in chapter 135, Asa decided to join the Chainsaw Man Church and started really making a name for herself, eliminating a bunch of devils. And this is kind of what started the rumors of Asa actually being the one that took care of all these major devils that she was seeing around and not Chainsaw Man. So the kid confronting Denji pretty much says that if he keeps wearing that shirt, then he's supporting a victimizer. And another student overhears this, someone that's very obviously a hardcore Chainsaw Man fan, and confuses Denji and the guy for both being people that don't like Chainsaw Man, when Denji's just getting caught up in this scenario that he doesn't want to be in. So this guy that jumps in just jumps to conclusions and nails Denji right in the face in the name of Chainsaw Man. Well, if we know anything about our boy Denji, we know that he does not go down without a fight, and he ends up sending the kid that punched him to the hospital with a missing tooth. And just really quick, it honestly really pisses me off how one of his teachers treats him, because he says, in my experience, kids without parents are quick to start fights. Next time it's the red card for you, got it? So just automatically putting the blame on Denji. Of course, Denji's never been one to explain himself very well, but just the fact that he says just because Denji doesn't have any parents, that automatically just makes him a delinquent. Screw you, man. Screw you. But anyways, moving on. Well, Yoshida catches him leaving the teacher's room and invites him to ditch school and watch a movie like normal kids do. They go to the theater and there's nobody there because there's this defeated devil right in front of the screen, and Yoshida starts to point out that the devil hunters on staff at the theater took care of the devil in mere minutes, kind of hammering home that Chainsaw Man is unnecessary. Denji is not the main character of this movie, and he should stop pretending that he is. Let other people deal with the world's problems and just stay in the background and operate as a normal person. And Denji hasn't given this any mind ever since he decided that he just wanted to live a normal life in order to keep Naruto alive. Dude has just seemed dead inside. Well, I guess Yoshida invited some other girl from his class to watch a movie with Denji, and Yoshida leaves. He pretty much set him up on a date. And one thing I will say that I really love about this chapter is this shot that is very reminiscent of one in part 1 when Denji's in a movie theater with Makima, and he asks Yoshida, is this what it's like to be normal? And Yoshida pauses for a second and says, yeah, it is. Well, the girl sits down next to Denji and they start watching the movie, and Denji points out that he's not really feeling himself, so he can't really charm her, and he's normally a pretty awesome guy, but right now he seems just kind of empty inside and isn't really up for conversation or making a new relationship with somebody. Perfectly understandable, but as he continues to talk, he realizes something pretty crazy and something that definitely caught the readers off guard, where the girl just starts touching him in his, male area and just has this weird sketchy smile on her face. Well, this leads us into chapter 137, where she's still touching him and she straight up offers to Denji to get intimate right away. No fluff, let's just do it. In her own words, she has nothing better to do anyway. But she has one condition, as they always do with Denji. She tells him to go lick the dead devil that's on stage in front of the theater screen, and then after that she'll give him what he wants. And this is probably the only point of the chapter where I was very, very proud of Denji and very happy with what he's saying, but it's very short-lived. But before I get to that point, he starts saying all the right things. He's like, look, you seem kind of sketchy. Like, why are you even trying to go on this date with me if I haven't even met you before? before, and he says, look, I'm matured. I don't fall for honey traps anymore. Besides, I'm sick and tired of mindlessly obeying somebody for the bait that's dangling right in front of me. And bravo, Denji, thank you so much. Shows some very genuine character growth for him, and honestly reflects the subtle growth that he's had throughout part 2, and to some extent the end of part 1. And initially, this is why I thought Fujimoto ended the previous chapter the way that he did, because I figured like, alright, this girl is just gonna want to give it to him easily, give him what he wants easily, but now Denji's a different person. He wants love and then the affection, not just the affection. He's looking for something a little deeper than that. Well, then Denji says, got it, then get out of here, and have some respect for yourself. Again, bravo, but the very next panel, literally on the exact same page, you see her laughing her freaking ass off in the theater seats as Denji is licking the tail of this like octopus devil that's on stage, and she tells him to start sucking it like a popsicle. He does that, and she just starts dying laughing, and all he can think is that, wow, she's cute. And then after this, I literally just had to like look away and put my hand on my face for a second and be like, man, Denji, what are you doing here, buddy? We're here rooting for you. We want you to do better. We want you to finally fall in love, you know, have a great life. And then you do stuff like this that kind of just takes you back to square one, and it's just so frustrating. It's so damn frustrating to me. I still have my faith in Fujimoto that he's going somewhere with this, that this is all going to pay off in some way. And again, I still believe that, but it's just so hard getting to that point when we have Denji have all this growth just for a pretty face to send him back to square one. Just rubs me the wrong way, you know? But they end up going to this karaoke place called Karaoke Fujimoto. Pretty funny nod to himself. I love it when he does stuff like this. But Denji's pretty surprised. He's like, we're going to do it in here. And then the girl responds by saying, well, they're not going to let us in a motel wearing school uniforms. Pretty good point. And goes on to say, plus a friend of a friend works here part-time. They'll turn a blind eye. So Denji's of course all giddy and nervous, and he's like, all right, well, let's get to it then. And she just looks at him with a little smirk and says, well, before we begin, and then just starts singing super hard on karaoke, saying all these nonsense words like smooch, smooch, lovely, gropey, gropey, like just weird sexual words. And although very, very odd, I'm just thinking like, this is such a Fujimoto thing to do. This is definitely going somewhere wacky, and it definitely does, as you're about to see. And although weirded out, Denji's thinking to himself, well, this doesn't seem like a trap or anything. I'm kind of having fun, so I'll just roll with it. Maybe being normal isn't so bad after all. And as she gets towards the end of the first verse of the song, literally out of nowhere, the door opens and some dude just comes in running with the bat and swings it right at Denji and hits him. So Denji kicks the dude right in the face, and then a ton of people with bats walk into the room, and the girl just continues to sing, completely unbothered by what's going on. Obviously this is all a setup for something, I'm not really sure what yet. And as she continues to sing the song, Denji's just beating on all these dudes with bats, and you see that there's like a line of them waiting outside of the room, just waiting for their turn, I guess. But eventually Denji gets one of the bats off one of the knocked out guys and just starts wailing on everybody in the hallway. Pretty awesome sequence. Honestly, this is probably my favorite part of the past 2 chapters, because it's this classic Fujimoto action, just complete nonsense, not stopping to explain anything, completely unfiltered, totally wacky fun. I think that's when Fujimoto's at his best. So Denji lines the whole hallway with all these knocked out guys that he just finished beating up, and it actually seems like he's having a lot of fun. And he starts smirking and turns to her and says, you aren't gonna sing the second verse? And the girl comes out with the bat herself and says, this seems more fun. And it definitely looks like Denji's having a good time too. So I'm sure you have a ton of questions as to what's going on. I definitely do too, and I'm very happy that this chapter at least left off on a very entertaining note, a very curious note, kind of leaving you wondering for the next one. And to be honest, kind of just took the bad taste out of my mouth that I had at the very beginning of this chapter. Because like I said, whenever Denji does stuff like this, to just completely set himself backwards and undo all the progress he's had, it's kind of annoying to me, because, you know, I want the best for him, as I'm sure many of you do too. Especially since we all know that something like this is never going to come that easily to Denji. He's never going to get intimate with a woman that easily and be completely satisfied and just have it be that way. There's always a catch, there's always a setup for some reason. I guess now I'm definitely much more curious what's going on with this random girl, and even more curious why Yoshida decided to set him up with her, because he had to know that she was completely insane. Like, he must have some kind of part in this. Maybe he's doing this to kind of give Denji some fun because he sees that he's depressed. He knows that this girl is crazy and is going to show him a pretty crazy time like she is right now. I'm not really sure. We're probably going to find out next chapter, but I'm pretty happy at least that this one ended on a fun note for me and took away my frustrations that I had earlier. I'm still pretty pissed that Denji will do anything because of his horniness. I thought he was kind of past that, but whatever. I can get over it. Still love Denji, still love Chainsaw Man more importantly, and I'll still be covering it on this channel. So make sure to subscribe, turn those notifications on for each time that a new chapter drops, because I'll be talking about it on this channel. Have an absolutely wonderful day, night, afternoon, afternoon, whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video.